Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello and welcome.
So, if you hear some strange noises, it's just the howling 50-mile-an-hour winds out there.
And I love it.
As the skies are gray and snow is coming down in some areas, it's really pretty wild weather.
I find a strange comfort in storms. I don't know.
Yeah, they're interesting. It's interesting feeling the energy change when they come in. So, looking at California, it's facing actually the highest risk of 2020 as far as fires. It's been bad enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's set all sorts of records, and now where it's at the highest of all year, 70-mile-an-hour plus winds and record dry conditions.
It's really a shame.
And we have the PG&E company cutting power to about 1 million on Sunday. I was saying to Cindy, too, because I had looked at some portable camp, like stoves, wood-burning stoves that you could cook on and stuff if you went camping and things like that. But just in the case of emergency, something happened, boy, it's good to have a wood-burning stove.
It sure is.
It really is. The cabin up in North Carolina had one. It was a godsend. I really didn't put the heat on besides the wood-burning stove pretty much all winter.
And I just love the smell.
I do too. I just love it. So, obviously, already in the midst of the worst wildfire season on record, California faces the most favorable conditions for instigating large wildfires so far this year. Beginning Sunday afternoon, lasting into Tuesday. Combination of hurricane-force wind gusts and extremely dry conditions means the potential of a fire starting and spreading rapidly is unusually high. In the San Francisco Bay and areas from Sacramento northward, high winds of up to 80 miles an hour are expected in higher elevations, and gusts to 50 miles an hour possible even in downtown San Fran. Intense.
Very intense.
There is something about being at like 8, 9, 10,000 feet when you have these type of conditions. It's exhilarating for sure.
It sure is, yep.
And people are going to think we're even crazier than they already did when we talk about exhilarating storms. Well, let's pray for some snow and some rain for California, and let's send that positive intention out there because we did get snow, as you see here, in Colorado. So that is helping with the Cameron Peak and East troublesome fires. Yes, that's good deal.
Very good.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, guys. This winter system is pretty intense, and it's going to drop down far.
It is. It's kind of crazy.
But this is what happens when you have a weakening magnetosphere.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It's exactly what happens. So thankful for the snow in Colorado, and I know the ski resorts are going to love that. And then, can you believe this as the page loads here? Yep, yet again, we have another potential hurricane or possibly landing as a tropical storm. Well, it's heading over towards Weedme, over in New Orleans.
Isn't that the third time?
Yeah. It's early to say, but this seems like it's taking the exact same path that we've seen again. Now, we're up to Tropical Storm Zeta, Z. This has been a crazy year, but something says that, we haven't seen anything yet, really, when it changes. So, yeah, it's moving towards the Yucatan and heading up towards the Gulf Coast. This is number 27. 27th named storm of the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. It's going to bring heavy rain, strong winds to portions of northwestern Caribbean Sea and adjacent land areas today and Monday. And, obviously this is a record storm. Here we are in October, and you have the earliest forming 27th Atlantic named storm on record. The previous earliest was in November 29th, 2005. So Zeta is the fourth Atlantic named storm to form since October 2nd, along with Gamma, Delta, and Epsilon. Yeah, this is just an incredible storm and storm season.
Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like Mother Nature is completely at fault here.
There's been a quake swarm going. Yeah, I agree with you with that too. Definitely. I feel there is a stirring current there. So there's been a swarm ongoing under Kilauea. And you see here there was over 130 quakes beneath the northeastern top of the Ka-Oiki fault system, which is northwest of Kilauea Summit on the 22nd and 23rd. And, there's been water in the crater, which is a thing that everybody's been watching for a while. A lot of activities. So is it going to be a here we go again?
It very well could be. I feel it. Yeah, I think so.
Other monitoring data streams for Kilauea and Mauna Loa, including ground deformation gas and imagery, showed no signs of increased activity. Clustering of shallow quakes in this region does not mean an eruption is imminent. However, it is a good cause, as we see the water lake there, to, just be aware.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
And yet again, we have another mass die-off. This time it's jellyfish in Texas, washing up by the thousands. And the experts don't know why. So definitely be careful if you're walking barefoot on the beach.
That's got to smell awful.
I've seen these wash up in mass before in locations that I've been in, like in the Carolinas and in Florida, and they didn't smell bad.
Interesting.
Believe it or not. But believe me, it smelled horrible when I was down there in Florida with the red tide.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was literally, as the crow flies, maybe a half mile from the beach, and there was obviously thousands and thousands of fish just piled up there. It was atrocious. It made your nose burn. It seeped in through under the door and the windows. It was really gross.
That's like Mother Earth crying.
And it was so sad to walk down there and see them all down there. So the moon jellyfish has been appearing by the thousands on Padre Island National Seashore. And this is the area where you're seeing them. So what's causing it, I wonder?
Very curious.
If it's just one species, it gets you really curious too, because like red tide is indiscriminate. Mm-hmm. So another client scientist with impeccable credentials, yes, from MIT, as well as from the Georgia Institute of Technology, NASA Jet Propulsion Lab, California Institute of Technology, and Duke. This is a highly acclaimed individual who says that our models are Mickey Mouse mockeries of the real world when it comes to climate science.
Something tells me to trust this guy.
I know. And I do pray for his health and well-being.
Yes.
Let's put that out there. Sometimes when people speak up too much, accidents seem to happen sometimes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he wrote a book, and this is Dr. Nakamura. And the book is The Global Warming Hypothesis is an Unproven Hypothesis. He put it gently.
He did.
He really did. But he gets into the fact that global mean temperatures before 1980 are based on untrustworthy data. Before a full planet observation, surface observation by satellite began in 1980, only a small part of the Earth has been observed for temperatures with a certain amount of accuracy and frequency across the globe. Only North America and Western Europe have trustworthy temperature data dating back to the 19th century. So, question everything except nothing.
Absolutely, I like that.
So, this guy knows his stuff. He worked on cloud dynamics and forces mixing atmospheric and ocean flows on medium to planetary scales. His bases were MIT for a Doctor of Science in Meteorology, Georgia Institute of Technology, Goddard Space Flight Center, Jet Propulsion Lab, JPL, Duke and Hawaii Universities, and the Japan Agency for Marine Earth Science and Technologies. Published over 20-plus climate papers on fluid dynamics, no questioning his credibility. So I guess maybe he's just tired of listening to a lot of what people will call crap.
Misinformation.
Yes, miss or diss. Sometimes both.
Yep.
So I put this YouTube here for you guys to check out as... See if it's interesting how it always moves slow when we're going to go do a video here. There we go. This is from National Geographic, and I'll just give the link to you guys so you can watch it. So this is from 2008. And again, just to show you how things change, because it's going over the plate tectonics of the Rockies.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help.
Okay, we could stop the commercials there. And so what they say is that the Pacific Plate went in, and instead of going down into the mantle, deep down. It just kind of skimmed below the surface of the North American plate, and thus the Rockies were formed. And, science changes. That's one of the things. Science changes. So here we see going to 2013, 5 years later, Rocky Mountains originated from previously unknown oceanic plate. Okay, so it wasn't the Pacific plate. It was a previously unknown one that they come out with 5 years later. Now we see out of Live Science, and this is just published, lost tectonic plate called Resurrection. Ooh, interesting name. Resurrection, hidden under the Pacific. So now it's a lost plate. There's another plate. Now, this other article from 2013 does talk about a different plate that's called the Farallon plate, or as you see it over here. But now this new article talks about the Farallon, the Pacific, and also a new one, Resurrection. So I just wanted to show you guys how science is always changing.
Always, always, always.
And if there are perhaps agendas out there to give us a certain set of visions about what the past was, which maybe is not so accurate, to say the least. So how do we even trust this? I mean, is it gonna be 2024, 2025, and all of a sudden there's something else that says, hey, and by the way, this change didn't happen in millions of years. It happened in like 100.
Well, you take in the information, but you allow yourself to be flexible to change.
Yeah, again. And this is part of why we really say go within.
Yes.
Because when you're just operating through the left brain and you're just going on all the data that's coming in, that's being fed to you from all sorts of sources. Sources, again, when you look at scientific papers and stuff, and you look at these universities, they get grants. Mm-hmm. And there's certain industries involved in these grants. And so it's all about getting funding. And it's all about, who's going to fund us.
Yeah, who's going to pay our mortgage?
And so what's the agenda of the group that's funding us? Mm-hmm. Are they related to some other business that's going to profit if we say it's, X instead of Y or Z?
Exactly. And everybody makes a buck as long as they stick with the storyline.
Exactly. So guys, thank you so much for your support on Patreon and Ko-Fi. We couldn't do it without your support. As always, stay prepared out there. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.